remember this one conversation over packing lunch where, my mom-in-law said that, why is he always taking a sandwich to school for lunch? This is for my son. My daughter was easy with food. My son was very picky. Why do you always pack a sandwich for him? Maybe you can give him a hot thermos with hot food or something like that, because he doesn't eat half a sandwich anyways. And I said, well, I've tried that, Mom, but he does not take the time to open and sit and eat. Half of his eating comes while he's talking, and at least half the sandwich gets eaten, but with hot food, nothing gets eaten, right?
That's right.
And the idea, I think the easiest way to navigate through I never looked at it as criticism. If something rose within me of criticism, then I would ask myself, what was my trigger in this, right? So I tried very hard to listen to it and validate and say, oh, that's a great idea. Or I'll think about that. If I didn't, there were 100 things that I didn't agree with straight up, because, when you're living in a household with 3 generations, you're talking a completely different time on how, my mom-in-law raised her kids, bringing her kids directly from India to here when they were 7, 9, and 11.
Wow.
Versus my kids being born and raised here. So we had some generational issues as well. Then I would be matter-of-factly, never firm to the point of disrespect. So there were 2 things that I always did: was validated her guidance, comments, whether they were sarcastic or whether they were advice, whatever it was, I validated it. And then the second thing was I respectfully let her know that this was not going to work, or I'd already tried this, or I would be open to this. Yeah. So I think these 2 were, now that I think about it, and Susan, you're making me think about a lot of things that I've never talked about this in such detail.
Wow.
So just as you've never talked to me about this, I've really never, ever talked about it in such detail. So thank you. I'm grateful, because I'm getting a little clear myself on how I did things back then, or even now. So the validation is very, very important, so that the other person doesn't feel knocked down. And then, of course, knowing to always respect, no matter who it is, whether they're younger than you or older than you. Respect, I believe, is the true language of love. It's the only language of love. You could say, I love you all day long. You could express the love you feel for somebody in your heart all day long. But if that is not delivered with respect in the day-to-day interactions, then it's pointless. Then the other person is never going to feel your intention of love. So that respect is a very important delivery method.